We're back. It's Xavier, CRC. Another video today. But today is unlike any other day or any other video before. Today is not a regular day. Oh no. Because today, this channel, Cadet Rookie Cop, has its first sponsor. That's right. Today's video is sponsored by Forthright Provisions. It is a law enforcement owned custom gear company that specializes in making quality gunslings, dop kits, and EDC belts. Hold on, I'll show you. So this is some of the work right here that he sent me. You can see my name is put in there. Quality material made out of Cordura. I got to choose the pattern on everything. Here is the sling again, same thing. My name, my badge number. I got to choose the pattern. I even got to choose the thread color, the straps, the strap color, the type of gun attachment I wanted on it. Extremely quality material. I've run it through its paces. Everything on his website is handmade. He makes it himself. You're not getting any, China factory type of product. You're getting handmade quality materials. When you place the order is when he makes it. He reached out to me, and I thought that this episode of the Overtime Trap would be the perfect segue and the perfect opportunity to host our first sponsor, because it's in line with something that I am so passionate about, and that's law enforcement owned and law enforcement ran small business. I'm a huge advocate for the people who work in law enforcement to start earning extra income outside of the badge and stop solely relying on overtime. This guy's doing it. Support him, help him grow his business, flood him with orders, okay? Check out his website, forthrightprovisions.com. And when you're on the site, he'll know that I sent you because he has a promo code, CRC15, and that's going to allow you to have 15% off your order. All right? So, without further ado, thank you again to the sponsor. Thank you again for sending the quality materials. Let's get into today's video, okay? We're going to be talking about the overtime trap. Let's get into it. Overtime. I was thinking on this when I was writing the script out for this video. And if there is another profession or another group of individuals who are more addicted to the concept of overtime than police and first responders, I tell you, I was hard pressed to find it. It starts as early as the application phase or as a cadet in the academy. They're already locked in and focused on how they're going to be working extra 20, 30, 40 hours a week, picking up overtime to support a lifestyle that they can't have on their base pay. I hear all the time, I can't wait to get off probation so I can start working overtime gigs. I can't wait to get off of FTO so I can start picking up overtime shifts. It's a constant thing. Hey, look, I can be honest. Sometimes it's not all about living above their means. At least not initially. Oftentimes it can start off more harmless. It starts off by, wanting to work some overtime shifts to pay off their debt. Maybe they want to quickly pay off a car loan, or they were saving up for a down payment of their house. Whatever it is, and the reasons are truly infinite. Today, in the purpose of this video, I'm here to shine a light on the overtime trap and hopefully break the addiction. All right, break the addiction that officers have to the overtime T. So a lot of you out there are probably saying, what's the problem with overtime? What's wrong with working OT? Intrinsically, within itself, nothing. There's nothing wrong with overtime. It's a necessary program and it's a necessary thing. Sometimes calls go long. Sometimes you do have an emergency situation where you need some immediate cash to remedy it. The problem isn't so much overtime as it is police officers' addiction and dependence on it. Do a Google search right now of police officers making crazy overtime pay. Literally type those words into Google and you will see just an unfathomable amount of articles covering how there's officers out there making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year because they're working so much overtime. Now, to some of you out there, you guys are probably rubbing your hands together like, that sounds like a good number, right? That's the money whore in you. You're money whoring. Because what you're not realizing is that when you work overtime, you're working on an hour for hour basis at a fixed rate. So for them to get to that astronomical sum of money per year, they are working a ridiculous amount of hours in that year to make that money. So instead of looking at the money, you have to ask, what's the real cost of overtime? What's the real cost of making that $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year that you're reading about in the article? I'll tell you, it comes at an increased risk to your health, an increased risk to your safety, an increased risk of liability, all right? A higher potential to get injured. It comes at the detriment to your family, your relationships, because you can't do those things at the same level when you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week or more. In most cases, overtime isn't even factored into your retirement. So think about that. You do a 20-year career, whole time you've been working just insane amount of overtime, making astronomical sums of money, right? You think the money is always going to be there. Now you retire. You're going to retire at whatever it is your base pay is. And because you are making so much money and so much overtime, and you know that if you promoted to sergeant or higher, you are no longer going to be eligible for the overtime. You never really promoted. But now, when all that's gone and you're retired, you're left with whatever your base pay is. And so now that huge discrepancy of what you were making in overtime while you were working versus what you're actually getting in retirement is coming back to bite you. You're going to have a reality check. All of this to say, I'm not even factoring in the wear and tear on your body. You think you can honestly do 10, 15, 20 years of 60 to 80 hour weeks? And you think that you're going to live long enough to enjoy any meaningful time of your retirement? Absolutely not. You'll be dead within a decade. And I'm being generous. Again, for all you OT whores out there, I'm not saying that overtime is bad. I'm saying that officers allowing themselves to be sucked into the overtime trap of supplementing their lifestyle perpetually with overtime money is a problem. So when should you use OT? In my personal opinion, I think some good instances of when it's appropriate to use OT are for when, for example, you have some short-term, relatively decent-sized expense coming up. Maybe you just bought some new furniture that you want to pay off right away. Maybe you're saving up for a vacation. Maybe you're saving up to, pay off a decent chunk of your car or put down a decent down payment. All right? For those short-term, predictable expenses, I think overtime can be a very powerful tool. And it's often used like that. When you start placing yourself in a bind is when month after month, you continuously need overtime as you continue to increase the expense of your lifestyle, and you need overtime to supplement this to keep you and your family afloat. So what are some bad uses of OT? What shouldn't you be using OT for? Well, straight out the back, you're not using OT appropriately if You are using it to supplement your income so that you can live in a neighborhood that you can't typically afford off your base salary. Yeah. Yeah, my downtown condo cops living in nice swanky areas. And I'm talking to you. Another reason not to use OT. To buy an expensive car that's typically 50% of your monthly base pay. And so you work overtime multiple times a month to cover that expense. That's another bad use of OT. Other bad uses include all the typical stuff. You know, using OT money to continuously buy toys that have expenses beyond their initial purchase. You know, buying boats, jet skis, yacht memberships, guns, all of these things. Yes, you know I'm telling the truth. We've all seen it. We all know a friend or a buddy or a shift mate who's doing these things. They always have the latest thing. These are all bad uses of OT. Newsflash, guys. Newsflash to you older officers out there, mid-career officers, rookies, applicants, cadets. OT is a trap, okay? They are always going to get more out of you than you get out of OT. It's just the fact, it's the way the game is played. All right, you're working, again, like I said, you're working at a fixed income. All right, you have a fixed overtime rate. That's not going to change. You have to work hour for hour for the money that you accrue. It's just an archaic way to go about the whole situation. I'm not going to leave you hanging. What's an alternative? Well, what can I do if I'm not working OT? I'm so glad you asked. I'm a huge advocate. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm a huge advocate for officers learning how to monetize their hobbies, skills, and interests. Typically, this comes in the form of starting their own business, just like the sponsor of this video, Forthright Provisions. You see how I brought that all the way back around? You thought I wasn't gonna be able to touch it, but I did. It's so important. And this begins to open up the topic. And we're going to be doing a lot more videos on this in the future of things that officers can do, skills that they can monetize to generate income that really has no cap rate. When compared apples to apples, oranges to oranges, fruits to fruits, OT cannot hold a candle to alternative methods of earning income. Let's compare them side by side, okay? We're going to look at where OT is strong and why it draws so many officers to it. But we're going to compare that safety, that relative safety, with the earning potential of doing some type of alternative income generating activity, right? Whether that's an online, physical business, monetizing your hobbies, your skills, or your interests. All right, so right off the bat, what is overtime's biggest perk? I'll tell you, it's that it's guaranteed money. You know that if you show up to work for an extra 10-hour shift, then based on what your base pay is, you're going to get time and a half, and you're going to generate X amount of dollars for working that 10-hour shift. So you have that stability and that security. But it's that stability and security that is always going to keep your income relatively low. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably like, relatively low. You just said that there's articles out there of officers making $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Yeah, but they're working hundreds, if not thousands of hours of OT to do that. And I guarantee that if you took that same amount of time and that same amount of effort and put it into an alternative method of generating income, you would see a way bigger return. See, overtime's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness, in that you're working on a fixed income at a fixed rate. So no matter what, there will never be a point where you hit that exponential growth. It's always going to be a plateau. And you know what they say in business about plateaus. All right? If you're not increasing, you're just flatlining, eventually you're going to decrease. Because in overtime, that decrease is going to be the effect that it has on your health. that decrease is going to be the effect that it has on your family, on your wife or your husband or on your children, on the relationships that you have with your dad, mom, friends. Those are the things that are going to begin to decrease as you work at a fixed rate. What are some negatives, right, of OT? What's some negatives? Well, let's just be honest. The current climate, not the best. So just using statistics, you are statistically increasing the opportunity and the chance that every time you throw on that uniform and belt, that you're either going to go out there and get injured, get sick, get killed, get fired, get suspended, get sued. You're just increasing the opportunity for these things to happen. And if you're a cop, you already know. We don't determine. You can go from routine and mundane to life-threatening in the blink of an eye. It's a numbers game. It's chance. And you are increasing those chances, especially when you start picking up overtime to the point where you're working 7 days a week straight. So where do alternative methods rank on this scale? Well, alternative methods, right? The money, at least up front, and maybe at the same amount, at least initially, isn't guaranteed, right? You're going to put in a lot of hours up front without seeing the immediate gratification or having that immediate security blanket of time for money. But you want to kind of start to separate your thinking from solely looking at an opportunity and whether or not it's good or isn't good based on the time for money formula. Doing some type of alternative business can actually keep you at home around your family more. Hell, you can even involve your family. So you can start to have this whole little thing, start bonding more. Maybe that's an issue. You know how we cops struggle with that, right? Look, there's no limit when you start to generate your own income and you're doing something outside of throwing on a badge and belt for money. There's no limit to how much you can earn. There's no caps. And you can have that period of exponential growth if you stick with it long enough. It could also be more rewarding. And guess what? All those risks and liability that come with throwing on that duty belt and vest and hitting the streets every day for your money, all that's gone. The point that we're going to try to hit as we move forward with our videos in the channel is that there's nothing to be afraid of, right? The fact that there isn't a guarantee is probably the best thing for you when it comes to generating income and extra income outside of policing itself, right? We're going to try to shake the fear and the negative notions that officers have about starting their own. That's where we're moving forward in this channel. So make sure you tune in, continue to tune in every week to get inspired, to get new information, and to get a new perspective on our profession. All right. And before we get out of here, gotta say big thank you. All right. You are the first, and that will never change. You are the first sponsor of the channel. We thank you so much for the opportunity. I wish your business the best. All right. This episode was sponsored by Forthright Provisions. You can check them out at their website, forthrightprovisions.com. You can also check them out on Instagram at Forthright Provisions. Don't forget, check the link down below. Go to the site, place an order. Make sure you use the promo code CRC15 for 15% off your first order. If you are in the market for an EDC belt, a DOP kit, or a custom gunsling with your name or whatever it is you want to get inscribed on there. Support officers making money outside of uniform and support blue-owned businesses. All right? We got to stick together. We got to lift each other up. Let's start changing the way we all think about generating extra income. All right? If you like this video, as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share it on social media, send it to a buddy, send it to a friend, send it to your family, show it at the shift, get the conversation going, get the word out there. The subscriptions really help the channel, as you all know. We all got to sit here and just beg and beg and beg for it. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week, all right? I'm going to get on out of here. It's been Xavier CRC. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys on the next one.